In this video, we're going to look at cubes, and in the previous video, we took a look at a summary of the last 7 videos preceding this one, and in terms of where we've been. And we wound up basically taking and looking at something called star schemas, where we had, using SSIS and BIDS, we were able to construct a data warehouse where we had fact tables and dimension tables. And we were using these, we're talking about using these as inputs to our reports analysis. And so the next step we would take here would be we would talk about some building cubes. And the question naturally arises, well, why would we worry about cubes? We've already have star schemas, and there's some good reasons for that. When you use a star schema, the way it works is when you want to report, you have to write what is called a query, a SQL query against that star schema. You have to pull the data out of the database and make it available to the report. And this requires someone who is skilled in writing SQL queries. And once this SQL query is written, if you want to make some changes in it, even minor ones, it requires an additional query being rewritten. And what happens in many cases is a backlog of these requests starts arising. And unfortunately, if it gets bad enough, it can result in you not getting queries, or I'm sorry, you not getting reports on a timely basis. And one way of addressing that issue is using what's called a cube. And you need SQL Server analysis services to do that. If you remember, thinking about back to week 1's iLab, and one of the things we did there was pivot tables. Well, a cube is a lot like a pivot table. The pivot table was built on top of a worksheet data, and the cube is going to be built on top of a star schema. And once built in the pivot table, you could slice and dice, a user could, real time by just dragging, dropping certain items. And as a consequence, you can do the same thing with the cube. So you can have a much more responsive kind of interface with your data set. And you can even build reports on top of a cube a lot easier as well. So we're going to take a look in the next series of videos about using SQL Server analysis to build cubes and how one goes about doing that.